Hey, what's going on? It's Jim. Thanks for joining me. And what we're going to talk about today is how to create content fast. Fast. So I'm going to take a little different approach though than I think everybody else takes, because this is the way I create content fast, and it has more to do with creating like more things in less time than sort of pounding out an article in 15 minutes or whatever. So that's kind of my approach on creating content. So let's just jump right in. What I've done, I've opened up a Google Doc, and I use Evernote, I use Google Docs. I have them on my phone, I have them on my iPad, I have it on my computer, so that I have this stuff with me everywhere I go, because one of the first things that you want to do when you are trying to create content fast is to have a list of ideas that are ready to go, right? You can't be like sitting down at your computer thinking, I wonder what I'm going to write about, because, it's just, that makes it really hard, right? Sometimes you need to do that anyway, right? Like creating content is a creative process, right? And so that's okay to take time with it every once in a while. But what I would suggest is when you're sitting down and you have time is brainstorm ideas and get those into a Google Doc or in Evernote, someplace where you've just got this huge list of ideas and you just kind of like get it ready, right? So that boom, when the calendar strikes whatever time and it's time for you to pound out some content, then that's what you can do, right? So now, here are some ways that I find a list of ideas, right? Because it doesn't make sense to be spending a lot of time creating ideas if you don't know if people actually care about those ideas, right? And and I say that because like right now with my YouTube channel and stuff, I'm trying to grow my audience and that kind of thing. So for me right now, without really having a big audience following already, it makes sense for me to be targeting keywords and stuff like that where I can rank in YouTube and in Google and start getting traffic so that I can build up my fan base, so that then I can really get into some of my other ideas, and I'll already have sort of like a base of people to share that with. But when you're starting out, you want to sort of focus, or at least my approach is focusing on things that people are looking for answers to and stuff like that so that I can grow traffic. So boom, that's that. Now, here are some places I find ideas, and I think you're going to like these, right? I kind of use these in all together, right? So, it's funny, like these title generators. So I'm going to go to the one I use all the time. It's called titlegenerator.com. And you just pop over here and you just throw a keyword in here. Let's just put content in there. And then you're going to get back like 800 title headline content ideas, right? So 3 pages, and each page has like, hundreds. So here we go, like 12 questions answered about content, or don't fall for this scam, or, all sorts of funny stuff, right? Tons and tons and tons of ideas. So you can write some of these down, anything that appeals to you. I also come back to this title generator, later on in my process, because one of the keys to sort of getting your content read is having a good headline. So, if you're writing your content as an email, for example, or if you're making it into a blog post or a YouTube video, then having that compelling headline that also contains the keywords that you're going for is beneficial, right? So let's go ahead. And so like the focus of this video I'm making right now, how to create content fast. Let's bounce back over to my Google Doc. All right. So I looked at title generators. Okay. And we're going to look at some of this here in just a second, how I came up with the headline, or how the headline, how I'll come up with the headline that I actually use on the blog and on the video and stuff. So there's the title generator method. Now, another thing that I do when I'm looking for content ideas and I want to find them fast is have a folder of forums on my browser, so I can just bounce over to forums and look through the different topics, right? Because people ask tons of questions on forums, and questions are the key to creating content, right? When people ask questions, they want answers, and you can provide those to them in the form of content, right? So, and here's just another quick tip, like that I just want to share that works really well for me. So if you ever get writer's block, here's the thing that might work for you. It works for me. This is something I recommended in my Udemy course a while ago when I created that a couple years ago. When it came to creating products and creating content and stuff, when you've got topics, like, you come over here, boom, you've got a bunch of topic ideas, 5 romantic content ideas, and then you're kind of stuck, like, oh, what am I going to write about? Phrase everything as a question, right? Get into your Google Doc, wherever you're writing this stuff down, and phrase things as a question, What is the fastest way to create content, right? Because if you're a human, the nature of human beings is not to necessarily be like preachy expert kind of people, right? Most of us aren't that way. And especially when you're by yourself in front of your computer. But the way to sort of elicit that information out of yourself and get ideas flowing is to phrase things as questions, because whenever people ask you a question, you have answers, right? Or you don't, or you can say, oh, I don't know the answer to that. But, let's face it, if you're creating content, you want to focus on things you know about or can easily find out about, right? So phrase things as questions, so that way you can just go boom right into it and start pounding out the answers, because answering questions is super easy. It's a lot easier than trying to start from scratch and create some eloquent, article. So, forums, boom, let's just look in here. Has anyone ever seen the movie Interstellar? Have you posted to your blog recently? I love that. You know what? I think I'm going to actually write a post or an email or something with that headline, because it's just, yes, I hope you have. You need to, right? Have you posted on YouTube lately? I'm in love with that. So forums are just so much fun. Let's see. How does one gain back motivation to write? Get that on your topic list, right? If this is the kind of thing that you're writing about, get it on there. People are asking about it, right? So you can answer it. You can even write your response right in here and take that response, copy it over here to a Google Doc, make it into a blog post, make it into a video. This is what I'm going to show you in just a second here. Okay, so last but not least, right now we're just working through this first phase, which is finding ideas, writing them down, having a bunch of ideas so that when you're ready to go, you can just hit the ground running and create your content super fast. Now, the last place I go for ideas is Answer the Public. And it's not the last place, but the last place I'm going to show you so I don't drone on for 2 hours in this video. The last place I'm going to show you is Answer the Public. So you just go there and just, they have the weird image on the front with the guy like picking his face or whatever, and a search bar. And for free, you can basically search the British English sort of search engine that they, match up against. But what they do, so I just typed in create content. What they do is they kind of break your keyword phrase down into lots of cool content ideas for you. So questions. They give you all the questions that are in the auto suggest on search engines relating to your keyword. How to create content for YouTube. How to create content in Word. Blah, blah, blah. See, you got an unlimited supply, and you can download this to a CSV file, which I highly recommend. Okay. Prepositions. Create content in Word document or with. How about some of these? Create content for LinkedIn. for Oculus, for my website, for Netflix, for Facebook. Unlimited ideas. Okay? Then you can visualize some stuff here. And then they just give you the whole breakdown of like before and after auto-suggest searches with your keyword. So tons of ideas. So now that you've got ideas, then the next phase, so you've got to keep a running list with you all the time. Evernote, Docs, whatever, notebook, whatever you use. Okay, the next thing is we're going to make a headline with it. So the cool thing about this is that, like you saw on the title generator, I can type my keyword in here. And usually the way this works best is if you just write like a 1 or 2 word phrase. Big long tail keyword phrases really don't work in here, but you can always create one based on what you see here. Hopefully that makes sense. The content mystery revealed. I like that. Okay, so you can take one topic and turn it into like 10 different pieces of content based on what you've got in this title generator. But the main point is pick one headline for what you're working on right now. Okay. So my phrase is how to create content fast. That's the keyword phrase. I'm making a video about it. I'm going to rank it on YouTube. Okay. I may write a blog post about it, may not. Most of the time when I write blog posts, it's because I want to give away a bonus related to a product, or I want to promote a product or sell one of my products or that kind of thing. But here are some headline ideas. Learn how to create content fast. So I just put, learn. That was one of the suggestions in here. None of these were like exactly the same, but I just take some of the phrases I see here that I like and just kind of mash them together with my keyword phrase. 5 ways to create content fast. Your key to success, how to create content fast. Not bad, right? So make it something that people want to read, though. And that's why I recommend using this and not just your keyword phrase. That makes it compelling. Okay, next step. So we've gone through 2 steps. First, got to have your running list of ideas. Second, you need to create a compelling headline with this content, because there's no sense in creating content fast if nobody's going to read it, right? So good headline. Boom. Third, quick outline. Okay, I always outline. I know, like I didn't for a long time. I think it was like a phobia I learned in school. Like I hated outlines and those great big, like god awful, 3-page outlines with Roman numerals and all that. Then I was reading a book by William Zinsser. That's how you pronounce his last name. On Writing, I think it's called. Anyway, this guy was like a phenomenal journalist, writer. And anyway, he just talks about, like, one of the things he did, he wrote, I think it was him anyway. He did a lot of writing. Anyway, one of the things he recommends, headlines with action verbs, like a 3-step headline. I've tried it. I've loved it. I use it. So here's an example, like when I was doing the outline for how to create content fast. Choose, there's my verb from the list of ideas. Identify a headline. Action verbs keep your like content moving, right, in people's minds. That was at least what he said. I agree. It makes it a lot easier to write too. Outline topics, create content. So that's kind of my 4-step list. I keep it like 3-4 steps. And then you can do the intro, conclusion kind of thing. And then I just make great big headlines out of those and just filling content under them, right? So I've phrased these a little differently just for this video so that we can talk about these things together. Now, what kind of content? So you've got your outline. Now I want to ask you, this is where things get interesting for me in creating content fast. There's people who, like Sean Mize. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. I mean, he wrote like 21,000 articles for easyarticles.com back in, 10 years ago or whatever. And at that point, his approach was produce tons of articles every day, right, for years. And eventually he was outsourcing some of that, and but he's a phenomenal writer, right? I mean, just the power of pushing through and creating tons of content. And he could do it fast, right? He could write 5 or 6 articles a day or more. I don't follow that same approach, but what I try to do is say to myself, okay, I'm going to create a document like I have right here in front of me, except it's going to usually be better. I'll spend 30 minutes on that. I'll give myself up to 30 minutes to basically write my article. I don't care how long it is. Could be 400 words, could be 800. Sometimes I'm really got a lot to say about something and sometimes I don't. But I write it all out first and make it coherent, more coherent than what you see right here, right? Because I didn't want to just read an article to you. I wanted to kind of show you what it looks like before I've written it. Okay. But then, you've got to ask yourself for your objectives, what kind of content do you want? Is it that you're trying to write blog posts every day? Is it that you're trying to create videos every day? Is it social media? What is it, right? Is it writing articles for easy articles? I mean, people probably still do that. I don't know. You have to ask yourself that. For me, this is how I create content fast is I want them all, right? So what I do is I create this outline following these steps. I write my document, okay? And then I can basically turn that into a blog post. I can turn it into a video. And then I can break it up and make it into social media posts. So that's why I say, why not do all of them, right? Because that's where you're being smart and efficient, and that is fast, right? So it's great if you can pound out an article in 30 minutes, okay? That's fast. That's pretty good, and if you're an article writer, maybe that equates to $15 or, whatever you get paid for that, right? And you can do 2 an hour, so you get $30. But what if you could say, I'm going to take my one article in the first 30 minutes, I'm going to get it all written, and then I'm going to make that article into a blog post. I'm going to make a video out of it. I'm going to break it up and post it on 2 social media sites. So now suddenly you've gone and made 4 pieces of content in an hour. So whereas you could write 2 articles in an hour, 30 minutes a piece, with my method, what I'm talking about here, we're creating 4 pieces of content in an hour, right? And I think that's a good approach, and I like this approach because it's in different places, right? So, if all you're doing is writing articles, hey, totally, I get it. Like, that's what you got to do. But if you're doing like what I'm doing, where you're just trying to build a following and promoting products and promoting your channel and stuff like that, then having a post on your blog, having a video, having a social media post, those things are like, they all sort of interlink together. They help build the traffic to each other. And it's sort of an organic thing that you can create there. So I get 4 things in an hour versus just 2 if I were just writing articles. So, and that is, that for me is fast, right? So that's what we do. Now, there's some other ways that we can speed up content creation. Okay, and some people are better at this than others. Dictation is like a big one, right? I'm working on that. I've experimented with it in the past. I've used like drag and dictate, and I've used the Google dictation, and the one on the Mac works pretty good. I don't do it all the time. I'm not a super well-trained speaker, as you probably have already learned by listening to me. I say and 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 shit like that too much. Curse words even. So I don't know, then you got a bunch of editing to do, and I really like to try to minimize my editing and just get things written. So I'm faster at just writing it because I can write without having to deal with a bunch of edits, better than dictation and having to go back and edit, if that makes sense. So use tools that make it easier. There was the product I talked about a while back called Auto Magic Content, which was just an ebook, a 100-page ebook that walked through some methods another woman uses. She's like a prolific writer for Kindle and making books and stuff like that. And she outlined a bunch of methods she uses and tools that she uses to create content fast. So I'll put a link to that down below if you want to check that out. Because certainly some tools make that a lot easier. And the last thing I would say is that if you've watched some of my other videos, like my thumbnail creation videos and stuff, one of the other things I do besides sharing my content, right? So, and by the way, that document that I write, basically I use that as my blog post, like I said, but I also make that my video description. Like I don't read the script, I don't read it on video. You could put that on slides on PowerPoint and just read it, right? You could delete some of the words and then just read your script, but then the PowerPoint looks all cool because it's only got, a few key phrases on there. You can definitely do that. I don't personally, but I use what I've written as the description for my videos sometimes. And then, that's a great way to do it, right? And then you can post on your blog as well. And that's not like duplicating content. Like these are all different mediums. And so there's no like duplicate content penalty. So like, it's amazing. And I do the same thing with images. So I make one image that I use across the blog, the video, and on social media, right? So just make it easier on yourself. And that's how I create content fast. So I hope that helps you out. Boom. Thanks for joining me. Pound the like button if you liked it, and don't if you didn't. Leave me a comment if you got any questions or ideas, because I'd love to hear them. Thanks for joining me. See you in the next video.